what are some of the most damaging myths that you've heard or seen about introverts that you wish would just freaking disappear forever?
That's a great question. I think one of the most damaging is associating introversion in any way with being antisocial. So,
Uh-huh.
the kind of
Uh-huh.
trope around introverts not wanting to be in the same room as people, or ever wanting to go out. And I think one of the posts that I commented on with you was something about like leaving a party early. Like, introverts are always going to be the ones that want to leave a party early. It kind of feeds into that sense that introverts are antisocial. And I, again, from conversations with my community, get so many community members talking to me about the fact that their confidence is impacted by that, because people have the perception they're antisocial and then they don't give them an invitation, for example, to an event, and then they're left out of that event, or they have a preconception about the way someone's going to be if they're introverted, and then that impacts the dynamic of that interaction, and it again feeds into the messaging that as an introvert you're not enough, you need to be different in order to be accepted. And of course there are going to be times where introverts don't want to leave the house or be around people, as we've already discussed. And also, as you've rightly said, we're all different as well. We're not a monolith. Everyone's going to
Mhm.
be different. And something
Right,
that I
right.
don't see talked often about is the intersectionality. So you've mentioned
Mhm.
being neurodiverse, but what I don't hear from anyone really is how it impacts you if you're neurodiverse and an introvert, for example. Or
Sure.
to talk briefly about mental health. I suffer with a
Mhm.
generalized anxiety disorder and have done pretty much my whole life. My
Mhm.
anxiety will have an impact on the way I'm showing up just as much as my introversion. So
Sure.
whilst I
Mhm.
can happily go and dance kizomba and talk on stages, a lot of the time, if my mental health is poor, I don't want to be around people. I
Mhm.
don't want to leave the house. I don't want to be visible and having conversations. So that
Mhm.
intersectionality, that nuance is something that's not spoken about. And then if we go to those particular stereotypes, we can do more damage, because someone who's struggling with their mental health and an introvert, then the focus is on their introversion and they're not actually being seen or recognized or valued. And I personally have lost friendships because of my mental health. But I bet
Mhm.
if you spoke to those people, they would probably blame my introversion more than my mental health.